Welcome to Math Part of Bo. Coach Anderson here. We're going to go ahead and follow up from that previous video on combining like terms. And now we're going to be adding and subtracting polynomials. So we're going to split this up into a couple of different videos because I want to show you first the mechanics of adding and subtracting when you see these parentheses. And then we're going to kick it up a notch into some more and more difficult questions. And so remember, if you're in the course or program, coming up next, you're going to have those worksheet problems and speed drills. That way you can really get in there, practice your confidence, and really raise that score at the end of the day. So let's go ahead and start off with a couple of examples here, and then let's keep going. So starting off here, we have ourselves saying, hey, simplify each sum. Basically saying, break those parentheses, combine like terms, make it as simple as possible. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and take a look here, and I see that we have r cubed plus 4r to the fourth. Can't combine those in there. And because remember, the definition of like terms is, yeah, the same variable, but also the same exponent. So r cubed, r fourth, can't combine those. Over here we have 5r to the power of 4, r to the power of 3. Can't combine those either in this parentheses. However though, notice that if we were to get rid of the parentheses, yeah, the r cubes, they can combine. The fourth powers, they can combine. So let's go ahead and find a way to get there. And the way that we're going to get there is by understanding, well, when you look at those parentheses, is there anything in my way? No, there's nothing in my way because when you look, well, if you're just adding the group, well, you can break down the parentheses. There's nothing in the way. There's no number or negative. It's just adding the group. So you can just go ahead, break it all down, and then you can see for yourself what terms can be combined. Do that, and you're set. So watch this. I'm taking a look here, and I say, hey, again, nothing stopped me from breaking that parentheses down, or this one. There's nothing in the front. So I'll go ahead and just rewrite it as r cubed plus 4r to the power of 4 plus 5r to the power of 4 minus 2r cubed. Now I want to show you the difference between adding and subtracting parentheses. Here, adding, nothing really in your way, so you're good. So right here, I'm noticing that my like terms are, well, if I look at 4r to the power of 4 and 5r to the power of 4, I can combine those. And so remember, you leave the variable and exponent the same. You're just going to add how many of them there are. So you see that you have 4 of r to the power of 4 and 5 of r to the power of 4. So if you have 4 of something and 5 of that same something, combine them, you now have 9 of that same something. So there you go, 9r to the power of 4. Again, keep the same variable and exponent, and keep looking to see if you have anything else, which we do right there. We have r cubed, and we also have minus 2r cubed. So essentially you have one of these r cubed over here, and you're taking away 2 of that same thing. So what's 1 minus 2? Well, 1 minus 2 is negative 1. And so when you combine those like terms, you're going to get minus or negative 1 of those r cubes. And there you go. That's really how it's done. But again, stay tuned because I want to show you what subtraction looks like as well. So with that said, the answer for this first one, if you're paying attention here, it's going to be D, 9r to the power of 4 minus r cubed. Now let's take a look at the second one, and then we're going to look at differences, taking a subtraction here. So here we go. At this top one for number 2, again, there's nothing stopping you. It's just adding the parentheses. You can break it down, no problem. It's super straightforward. So here, I'm just going to rewrite everything. And don't worry, yes, there will be situations where you have to do more. But in this case, in this first intro video, nothing to really worry about. But we will have more to worry about soon. So when you take a look here, where are my like terms? Well, I have 4b to the power of 3 and 6b to the power of 3, which is positive. So I have 4 of something, 6 of that same something. Combine them, you now have 10 of that something. So we have 10b to the power of 3. And when you take a look over here, 7b, positive, 8b, that's positive. So a positive 7 plus a positive 8, well, that's going to be positive 15 of those same things, of the b. So 15 b's is what we have, plus 15b, and we are set. And so the answer here is going to go ahead and be A. So again, I hope you see that this is pretty straightforward when it comes to the adding. But now let's take a look at subtracting. This is where I really want you to pay attention because this is going to make or break the understanding that you have moving forward. So let's take a look here. We have minus right here in front of this parentheses, in front of the group. So remember what that means. What this means is you are subtracting the entire group. That's what you're doing. you're subtracting everything in the group. So what that means, my math party people, is that you need to distribute that negative, and you got to say that you're subtracting that 8k to the power of 4, and you're subtracting that 6k squared. And really quick, before we continue, my math party people, I know you're enjoying this, and you can have thousands of problems just like this in our program. In our program, you have 4 main things to help you succeed and more. But mainly, in our course, you're going to get access to recorded lessons, you're going to get access to guided practice just like this, worksheets that you can print out and try or keep them online, and lastly, speed drills to raise your confidence. That way, when you take the test, there's no test anxiety, there's no pressure, because you've been timed before, you know what to do, and that's the feeling that we want. And all of that's included in our program and more. So take a brief moment, click the link here in this video or in the description to learn about the program, and then reach out to us if you have any questions. Sign up now, let's get going, and let's get back to the problem. So in this case, when you look at the front part here, there's nothing to change here, nothing to change at all. You can go ahead and say, hey, 7k squared, nothing to do there, minus 6k to the power of 4, nothing affecting it. But that minus for that second group absolutely is affecting it. And so what you're taking care of here is this. You need to make sure that you go ahead and say, hey, minus 8k to the power of 4, you're basically changing the sign on it. It was positive 8k4, now it's minus 8k to the power of 4. And then next you have minus positive 6k squared. If you subtract the positive, that's the same thing as subtracting. So here, you're going to have minus 6k squared. Now I know what you might be thinking. Hey coach, if that's minus 6k squared, what happens if there's a minus here? Well, a double negative makes a positive. So if that was a minus, or subtracting, negative times a negative would be a positive, and so you see how that would go. Now we may see something like that here, so stay tuned and I'll go ahead and walk you through it. But here, let's go ahead and combine our like terms. We see here that we have negative 6k to the power of 4 minus 8k to the power of 4. We have the same variable, same exponents. We can combine those. And so here we have a negative 6 minus 8. So if you're already at negative 6 and you subtract 8, that's going to be negative 14. And that's what you'll have. Negative 14 of those k to the power of 4. Next up, what else do we have here? Anything else? Well, we have a positive 7k to the power of 2 minus 6k to the power of 2. We have the same variable and exponents, so we're basically doing 7 minus 6 and keeping the k squared. 7 minus 6 is going to be 1, which you can just write the 1 or not, doesn't really matter, but you can just say right over there that we're going to have plus 1k squared. And remember, you can say k squared or 1k squared, but ultimately k squared is going to be the approved way to do it because you won't see the 1 typically. So let's take a look at number 4 and number 5, and then we're going to call it on this video, and then the next video I'm going to show you again if it gets more complicated with more terms and craziness like that. This is just an intro. The next guided practice video is going to show you way more. So here we go. So same deal as last time. There's nothing in front of this group, this r plus 1. So you can just write r plus 1. You can just rewrite it. Now over here is where things might get a little, a little funky. Because you're looking at that minus, you got to distribute it. So apply the negative there and apply the negative there. So let me just zoom in a little bit to really show you what's going on. So here, that's a positive 2r cubed, but you apply a negative to it, and so now it becomes minus 2r cubed. And then up next, what you notice is that we have over here minus negative 5, or minus 5. When you apply a negative, that's basically saying multiplying it by a negative, distributing the negative. So if you have a negative 5 times a negative, well, a double negative is a positive. And so that minus 5 turns into a plus 5. And so there you go, plus 5, and there we have it right there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to combine like terms, and we're going to call it a day. What you may notice is that, well, the negative 2r cubed doesn't have anything to combine with. So you're going to really just rewrite it, no problem. Negative 2r cubed. So that's already good. Okay. Up next, you have the r. There's nothing that combines with the r, so you'll literally just write plus r. And then over here, you have plus 1 plus 5. 1 plus 5 is going to be 6, and we are good. Negative 2r cubed plus r plus 6, and that's going to be right there. So one more to go. And then again, in the next video, we're going to get more complicated, looking at more complicated examples. But I'm telling you right now, if you stick to these basic fundamental rules, you'll be fine. You'll absolutely be fine. So number 5, here we go. We have ourselves that negative again, minus. We are subtracting the whole group. So this front part stays the same because there's nothing in front of it. So we'll just have r plus 7r squared. Then over here, what we're going to have is this. Minus being distributed to the 5r squared, minus or negative being distributed to the negative 2r. So to this first one here, negative times a positive 5r squared is going to be a negative 5r squared. And then up next, subtracting a negative 2r, or a double negative, means plus 2r. And so that would be plus 2r right here. And just like this free YouTube video right here, my Math 40 people, I have a free practice test that comes with video solutions so you can learn from every mistake, and a free math class every week, once a week for 2 hours. Click the link over here to sign up and get started and keep raising that score. Let's get back to the action. And we are good. Now we can go ahead and combine our like terms and have a good time. The reason that we can't combine like terms in here is simply because, or from here to here, is because there's a parentheses in the way. You got to get the parentheses out of the way first, and then you're good to go. So with that said, here we go. Let's combine these like terms. We have ourselves over here 7r squared positive, negative 5r squared. So we're basically saying 7 minus 5, which is 2. And so there we go. We have our 2, r squared, and then we also have ourselves over here positive r, positive 2r, 1 plus 2 is 3, and we keep the r the same. So 2r squared plus 3r, and we are good. No pun intended. But there it is, my Math 40 people. So again, this is just the introduction video. Up next, you're going to be looking at more complicated examples as you see coming up over here, and they're going to be more and more and more and more. So like looking at things where we have, multiple terms, not just 2 and 2, but we have 3, where we have negatives everywhere. We're going to have a ton of stuff to go through. So that's going to be coming up in the next video. Stay tuned for that. Move on forward if you're in the course or program. That way you can go follow up with the worksheets, speed drills, and master this all day. I'm Coach Anderson, and I'll see you in the next one. And as always, my party people, thanks for watching. You can subscribe with that button right there, and you can also see a link to a video just like this one right up there. But most importantly, if you want the program and you want to raise your score the right way, every step of the way with my support, there's that link at the bottom left. Go ahead, click that link, watch the video on how the program works, subscribe, and raise your score.